Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you so much for watching today. I am super excited because I have got hold of the brand new Granulating Colors from Gansai Tambi Kuretake, set number 3, and these are the Lunar Colors. Now, if you have been watching my channel for any sort of time, you will know that I do really enjoy these granulating colours. I do have set 1 and set 2, and on my channel you will find videos about both of these sets, and you will see me using them in different projects because I do actually use them. I do enjoy them. That's not to say that they are, you know, the sort of thing that everybody will love. I know some people find them quite difficult to use. I am primarily an art journaler. I do a lot of abstract work and I just love playing with mediums. So for me, they are a really fun product that I can use in my backgrounds and things like that. However, if you are somebody who's much more likes to use their watercolors for creating finer art, then these might not be, you know, the right thing for you. And then again, they might be, because I think they do have such lovely effects that they can be used in a variety of ways. They also are not the most inexpensive paints. This set I bought from Amazon and it was £18.99 for basically 5 colours. Now, I am based in the UK, so I will list what I used throughout this video in my description box, but I will not post links because obviously if you're in different parts of the world, then these are going to be different prices, different places for you. I know they're also available. I've seen them from I think Lavinia Stamps in the UK. I'm not sure where else as of yet, but they will become, as time goes by, they will become more widely available. So I thought today we would have a look at the new colours. I will be also making a project which I will do time lapse. So the first bit I'll do in real time, and then I'll do my project in time lapse. So if you are wanting to skip through all of the swatching and discussing the paints, and you want to just get to the project part, I will put the time that starts at on the screen here, probably somewhere on the screen. And I will also list it in the description box below. But I will do this first part in real time because I think for some people it's important to be able to see the colours and to be able to see if this is a set that is something that you would want to look at. Now, I don't do reviews as such. I don't believe I have enough knowledge to do reviews. I will just give you my opinions. I have paid for these myself. They have not been sent to me. So, you know, all my opinions are my own, even though they always are, obviously. But so I'm not beholden to anybody for sending me these. And I really wanted to get this set because the thing I love the colours, I love the sets that are already out, but I have found they are very muted in their tones. I can show you, actually, funnily enough, I'm going to use this book to do my my swatching out, and this is the Canson art book, Saunders Waterford paper. It's 300 GSM, cold pressed watercolour paper, and I recently did this page, which was recreating a page I did in a smaller format, but this is using both of the older sets of the granulating colours, and you can see they're quite, I think they feel quite muted, as in, you know, they're very cosmic but very in a less bright way, which I love. But I was really pleased when I saw that the new colours are going to be quite a lot brighter. And so because I've already done that, I've drawn out a grid, well, not a grid, some squares using this stencil. Now this stencil is an old stencil from France, Papillion, and I do get asked about it quite often. It's no longer in production, but there is an online shop in the UK called the Stampers Grove, I think it's called. I will put the name of the shop in the description box, and they do have a section for stencils, and France Papillion is on there, and this was, I can't say if it still is, but the last time I looked, this was still available in that shop. But they are based in the UK, so I don't know how, you know, how widely they send, so that would be something you'd have to investigate. So I've drawn out my squares, my rectangles, and I've gone for 10 on here because I thought what I would do is I would do this in 2 different ways. So let's open up the colour. Well, actually, let's read the back first because it does always give interesting information. So the colours in this set are Lunar Pink, Lunar Orange, Lunar Green, Lunar Lime and Lunar Blue. Now the only thing, when I saw the colours, I did think to myself, I wish they hadn't done 2 greens. I would have rather had the lime green and maybe a yellow to make, you know, for that brightness. But they must have a reason why. I suppose maybe if there's yellowishness in the orange, then that might be why they didn't do that. But I would have liked a more yellow paint that give that real pop of brightness. Now, it says the colours of these Gansai watercolours separate to create whimsical and dreamy effects. The degree of colour separation and blurring may vary depending on the type of paper used. You can enjoy greater changes in colour by dissolving the watercolours in lots of water and letting the colours separate on your palette before painting. So that's what I'm going to do. So it does give you some more information here. It says they might exhibit cracking, but that doesn't affect their quality, and they may look a bit rough because of air bubbles. Not intended for children. When in store, keep Gansai pan horizontally, which I actually do with palette facing upwards. Do not leave in direct sunlight or in high temperature. Do not use for a purpose other than as intended. Okay. Wash your brush after use and make sure the palette is dry before storing, which I do actually do. So let's open up. Now, I know that the thing that disappoints a lot of people is that you get 5 colours and then you get this empty pan. I now had 3 of these empty pans, and I'm thinking that I might make myself a little palette of something else with them eventually. But the idea is that you mix the paint into there and add lots of water and then you let it separate. But because obviously there's only 1 pan and I've now got 5 colours, I have got my, oh, that made a nice sound, didn't it? I've got my little, I don't know what these are. I suppose they're little snack dishes. I bought them in a charity shop to mix them up. So what I thought was I'd mix up some paint with water to let it separate, and they are going to be these little swatches at the bottom, and then I will also use the colour direct from the pans onto these swatches here, these bigger swatches with lots of water. Now, as it said on the packaging, the type of paper you use will affect how much granulation you get. So I would always recommend like swatching onto different things, trying them out onto different paper and seeing where you get the best effects. They work best on a large area because you get more space for that separation, and they work also with best with lots of water, so it can really spread those pigments out. So I will put this here. All right, oops. And I'm just going to check in the camera that everything is in the right place. So let's move that along a bit. Move those along a bit. Whoop, ting, ting. And let's remove that, put that to there. There we go. So I'm going to get my water as well. Now I am only going to swatch onto this paper today. In the past with some of the other sets I've swatched onto different sorts of papers to see what would happen, but today I'm just going to swatch onto this book, and I'm going to use this then as the background for my project, which I will do in time lapse after I've done this part. So I'm just going to put a bit of water into each of these to start with, well, into 5 of them, just so that I'm making sure I'm getting lots of water on there. And I'm also going to wet my rectangle first. Now, I am expecting a delivery. It's not even my delivery, but at some point in the near future. So if the doorbell goes, I will just like pause the camera and go and sort that out. So if you hear the doorbell go, that will be what it is. So I'm going to put some of that in there, and then I'm going to go with my Lunar Pink. We're going to put some in here. And the thing with this is, even if you put lots in here that you don't use up, once it dries out, you can always reactivate it with some more water. So let's go with the Lunar Pink to start with. So that, whoa, I just love how these things split apart, like, well, sort of rush in the water. Let's then... So to start with, when you put these colours down, it's just going to look like it's one colour. Let's add a little bit more in. Spread that water about. So that's the first one. So that's your Lunar Pink. And already I can see some splitting going on. This is how quick it can be. There's some purple forming around the edges. So this one is Lunar Orange. So let's put that in here. Get a bit more of that, so that that can be splitting. And the idea, I think, is that if you want to really get those splits, this is the best way to get them going. All right, let's put some water onto the next one. Whoops, there is a little bit of orange still left in that brush, but it doesn't matter because that's what's going on here anyway. And hopefully you will start to see the colours splitting before your eyes. Just love that when it rushes through the water. Now I'm not worried if I'm going over the edges. This is just a rough, guide. I thought just a change from how I'd normally do swatching, just to sort of have a little bit of a difference and make it into something at the end as well. There we go, put a little bit more water in that. So that's the Lunar Orange. We'll wait to see what happens with that one. Next one, Lunar Green. So this is, in the pan, certainly looks more of a, maybe an olivey green. There is one in the other set called Olive, so I think, is it Cosmic or Aurora? I can't remember. It might be Cosmic Olive. So that to me definitely does look like more that sort of colour. Alright, let's get that. These are splitting very quickly, I have to say. Let's put some water down first, just to really give it the best chance to show you the effects. There's a little tinge of green already in there, and let's go across here. Maybe more of a sap green actually than a... Oops, I just splattered a bit of green into my orange, never mind. But they're certainly, I already think they are a lot brighter than the previous sets. Now obviously they're going for a space theme with all of them. So this is Lunar Lime. Now I wouldn't have said, looking at that, that doesn't make me think lime, that makes me think more Viridian, but, or maybe fluorescent rather than lime. If I would think that a lime would be more yellowy, or more zesty, but that to me isn't really lime. But let's see what it splits like, because maybe when it splits it's going to get more of that lime look to it. Alright, let's put some water down here. There's a little bit of orange maybe splattered onto there, but that's fine. I'm not going for perfection. And then let's go straight from here. See, now this is a brighter green. I suppose out of the two, I'd have probably put that more as a lime than this, but that's definitely the way they're written on there. So I'm really messing up my pans here, but no worries, just a little bit lifting with the brush will be fine for that. Maybe this has got more, I think maybe it's got more of a yellow undertone. And then last but not least, we've got Lunar Blue, which I think has got a purple look to just the blue on its own. So I'm going to presume it's going to split blue and like a violet, or blue and lilac or something like that. Or actually that's got like either a goldeny yellow or an orangey tone, depending on how you look at it. That one. Oops! That was silly, wasn't it? because I was looking at that and not at this. Right. Let's get some. Oh, what I haven't done, haven't put the water down. I must make it fair. Put that down. And straight from the pan. It's a very purpley blue, isn't it? Very warm toned. There we go. So what I will do then is I will leave these to dry naturally. I will also leave these to separate, and then when we come back we're able to see what they look like and then just add some of those and see if it makes a difference. See if doing them direct from the pan or whether mixing them up, you know, really makes much of a difference to how they look. Okay, so see you in a minute. Okay, so I have left this for probably 45 minutes. I was waiting for the delivery. I thought, I know, I'll wait. You know, I won't film while the delivery's coming. No delivery. Eventually I thought, I wonder if they've left it outside, and they had. They didn't even bother to ring the doorbell. So I've got the delivery now anyway, so that's the good thing. So this is now almost dried. There were some very wet patches, which I did mop slightly up towards the end, but it's still a little bit wet. And I'll show you how the colours have gone in the pots close up, and then I'll show you on here. Now, as you can see, I think in the bowls you can really see those splits. And I have to say that the one that I moaned about that wasn't very limey, it has, as it's dried, the lime side has definitely come out. There's a blue and a lime in there, which is why it looks so dark in the pot, in the pan, I should say. I love that one, that one, that one, that one. This one, I'm a little bit disappointed by, to be quite honest. I can't see much splitting. There is a little bit of lighter purple in there with the blue, but to be honest, on the old ones, you know, my favourite ones of these two, and I don't know if you can see through, but this is actually my most used colour from the first set, which was the Aurora Violet, and I love the Cosmic Violet. So I was hoping that a bit more of that purple would come through, so I'm a bit disappointed. I thought I was going to be disappointed with the two greens, but actually there's a lot of like an orange in this one, so it's got that more sort of olivey kind of colour to going on than this one. So I do love both the greens, and I really like how the orange is sort of splitting out into some reds and yellows, which would make sense when it, but this one, as it's dried, I love these sort of runs and blooms. I know that some people, when they're painting, they don't want those, but actually that's what I love. I love this cauliflowering, as you could call it. So let's have a little look and see how they go from in here. So let's give this I'm going to actually do this slightly differently, just to spread the colours out a little bit. So this is now from the ones that were mixed beforehand. I did change my water over as well because it was looking quite murky. So we'll do that one there. Let's do this one here. And straight away, actually, when you have mixed the water beforehand, you can immediately see the different colours in there, because obviously they've already split out to a certain amount. So I should imagine you're going to get a quicker split, but I'm not sure. We'll soon find out. So we'll do those ones there. We'll do this next green one we'll do here. I'm just trying to lay them out so that they're not all in the same place. And again, so you can see straight away the orangey colour is coming straight off my brush because it's already split in the pot. Let's go with this one. I do like how, I love how they look when they are in the pot splitting. I don't know how much, you know, efficiency it is doing it this way. I think it's probably a lot easier, and you know, you're not going to get an awful lot of difference. Maybe I will with this one. This might be where I go, ah yes. So these will have to obviously dry to be able to properly see the splitting. So what I will do is I will let these dry, and then I will come back to make my project over the top of this. Probably a bit similar to the one before, but in a more floral or fairy or something like that kind of way, because they're much brighter colours. I think they lend themselves to floral. I will hold the book up so you can see these ones and compare before I do the actual project, but that will all be done in time lapse. So I hope you'll stick around to watch the rest of the video. If you have enjoyed it so far, please do give this video a thumbs up, and if you see that hype button on a mobile device, do please hit it. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help smaller creators get promoted more by YouTube, because they say, oh, people like that video, let's push it out a bit more. And if you haven't already subscribed and you think you'd like my content, then do please hit that subscribe button. And at the end of the video, I will link the previous project. I'll pop that on as the end, the little end screen things. I'll pop that on so you can click straight onto that video if you want to see that one as well with the other granulating colours. But do check back on my videos, because I think I've got a playlist called Art Supplies and Hauls, and I'm going to suspect that the ones where I'm first opening the other granulating colours will be on there in that playlist. So please do take a look at those if you're interested in the other two sets as well. So I'll see you on the other side. So here are the final swatches, and the ones that I did at the end that had the mixed up paint actually came out a lot smoother than the others, so there wasn't even as much granulation as there had been for the first set of swatches. So I'm not sure why that is, but something interesting to experiment with. And I decided that I wanted to add some stitchy lines around the rectangles just to create some borders. And I'm using two sets to do this. I'm using from Be Crafty the stitch borders, or stitched borders, I'm not quite sure. They're a company based in the UK. And I'm also using Grungy borders, I think it's called, by Rubber Dance Stamps. So I'm just adding the stamping on with an archival black ink pad, and I wasn't worried if the bits came off the ends. I was just doing this in quite a rough sort of fashion, almost like I have with other ones where it looks a bit like a patchwork. It's something I really enjoy doing. I like the effect, and I do believe that if you enjoy doing something, then just keep on doing it. Doesn't matter that you've done it before, just if it's something that gives you joy, then keep on doing it. once I'd done that stage, I did feel that I wanted something more in the background. And so I'm going with this stamp set that I designed for Cleverprints. Unfortunately, Cleverprints is no longer trading. It's called Lunar Moth, I do believe. And I took these circle ones. These are some of my favourite stamps off of that stamp set. I use them an awful lot. So there's a bigger one and a smaller one. And I'm just popping them over because it's sort of got a bit of a lunar vibe, this page now, with the, even though I did think I was going to go with a more flowery type look, I've actually just sort of settled down into quite a moon-like theme. I think the name has just given it to me that it needs to be like this. And so I took the paint that I'd already watered down in those little dishes, and I decided to just add them onto here. So I'm just sort of playing around with where the colour goes, and actually the colours layered up together quite nicely. I do tend to use my watercolours on watercolour paper, and I do find that because of the way that works with them, I don't have as much trouble with the colours moving once they've sort of gone down, but obviously you would have to experiment with that as well. Now, if you've been around my channel any length of time, you will know that I often can't resist adding some stenciling to a project. I just find that it really helps with building up layers of interest. And I often do go in with a more neutral colour, such as black or white or gold. And for this, I went with the bubble, sort of the circles or the bubbles, just because I wanted to reflect the stamping that I'd just done. And circles are always good. They always look nice. So I'm just going over in little different areas with my stencil brush and my Amsterdam titanium white paint. And I'm not using the whole of this little stencil. It's the Be Crafty Dinkable. I'm not sure what set it's from, but it's a Be Crafty one. And then I wanted to add in some collage. So this is from the Fairies in Bloom book. Now this little girl was a fairy at the end as like an extras page, and as I was cutting her out, I didn't realise the wings were there, and I actually cut the wings off. So well, I cut one wing off, and then I had to make a decision, so I decided that I was going to cut both her wings off and just have her as a little girl. And I thought that she went really nicely with this page. She's quite neutral in colour, which I think went really nicely with that very bright colourful background. And then I found some of these little clouds in the book as well. So I'm going in, sticking them down with the Liquitex matte medium. And then I'll go over the top as well, just to make sure they're sealed. And as I did this, the paints underneath were not moving at all, which was really good. And then I decided to just quickly dry it with my heat tool so that I could get on with the next step, which was to add some shading. Now, didn't want to use black. I wanted to use something that was maybe a bit more in keeping. So I've gone with dark indigo, and this is the Derwent Inktense pencil. And I mostly wanted to add a little bit of grounding for her, and then I added a little bit of shading around her. Now, at the bottom, I did struggle a little bit because sometimes if you do try to add things on top of matte medium, it can resist a little bit, which is really good for if you get things accidentally on your image, because you can wipe it off very easily. But if that is a problem, I don't find it that much of a problem with the Inktense most of the time, but if you was using something very much more water reactive, it might struggle. And then what you can do is add a layer of something like a clear gesso or a clear watercolor ground over the top. before you add your shading or anything else over the top, so that it will then act as a primer layer for you. But I wasn't too worried. I was just trying to get some colour down around her. I also hadn't gone mad with the matte medium. I had mostly just kept it on her as much as possible. And so I was just going around her and filling in where I thought the shadows would be. And so finally, once that was all dry, I wanted to add a sentiment, and find adventure everywhere seemed to really go with this little girl on this page, because trying out new products, trying out new mediums can sometimes feel like a bit of an adventure, and one that I really enjoy doing. So that's the sentiment I chose, and I'm sticking that on with a little bit of glue, and then I will show you some close-up views of the page. So thank you ever so much for watching today. If you have enjoyed this video, do please give it a thumbs up and a hype if you can. I think the hypes are for mobile devices. I don't think you get the hype button on like laptops and things like that perhaps. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps smaller creators to be seen more further. And here at the end, you will also see a list of my lovely super supporters who are my YouTube members. So a big extra thank you goes out to them. And if you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to hit that subscribe button, that would be fantastic as well. And so until the next time, thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.